to take part this year was the St Paul's Primary School Early Music Group from St Leonard's on Sea near Hastings in Sussex, which is where I've come on this rather wild and blustery afternoon. Now, you'll realise what I mean by the term early music when I tell you that this first piece was written some 450 years ago by King Henry VIII. He called it Pastime with Good Company. And we, as I say, are in the very good company of the St Paul's Primary School Early Music Group. Their conductor is Rosemary Fleet. Well, in fact, I come inside St Paul's School now to meet two of the recorder players with the group. And first of all, Lisa Don Francesco. Now, that recorder you've got there, Lisa, what sort is that?
It's a descant recorder.
OK, give me some idea of the range that can play then. What's the highest note you can play?
Top C.
OK, and the lowest?
Is bottom C.
And can you play other recorders in the range?
Yes, I can play the sopranino, the treble and tenor. The only one I can't play is the bass because my fingers are too small.
So when you grow up, you can play the bigger ones, obviously. And I believe also, apart from the recorder, you play the viol as well, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. You enjoy that more than the recorder?
No, I like them both equally.
Yeah. How do you manage to tune the two instruments together? It must be very difficult, that, isn't it?
Yes, it is quite difficult, but we just hope for the best.
Are some things easier to play on, say, the recorder than they are on the viol?
Yes, especially the jumpy tunes.
The little bright breezy tunes, the twiddly ones?
Yes.
Yeah, so you'd rather play those on the recorder than the viol?
Yes.
OK, and also with us is Kerry Grover. Now, Kerry, you've got a larger treble recorder there. Do you need bigger hands to play that instrument?
Yes. Well, I play this mainly because I think I like it better than the other ones.
I see. And you also, as well as the recorder, play a more modern instrument as well, don't you?
Yes, I play the viola.
Is that very difficult?
No, it's not that difficult. Sometimes the scales are.
I'm sure they are. That's the boring bit, isn't it? Now, does playing in a group such as this help you when you come to play in an orchestra?
Yes, it does, because you learn to listen to other people.
OK, well, we're going to listen to an orchestra right now, in fact. It's the Winchmore Hill String Orchestra under their conductor, Peter Watmo. They're going to play Winter, which is the Concerto No. 4 in F minor by Vivaldi from the Four Seasons Suite. And the soloist here... As you can see, I've come in out of the wind and rain now into the music room at St Paul's Primary School, a room that incidentally was built solely by the money raised by the parents of the children here. I'm going to talk first of all to Kathy Harris. Now, Kathy, that's a viol you're playing there. What sort of a viol is it?
This is a tenor viol.
Which means it covers a sort of middle range of music, doesn't it?
Yes.
Give me some idea of the particular range of that instrument then. And I notice you hold the bow rather differently than you do with a violin, don't you?
Hmm.
Why is that, then?
Well, we have to hold it like this to pinch the horsehair tight so we can get nice, clean notes.
I see. And it's also... I thought it would be like a big violin, like a daddy violin, but in fact, it's got frets as well. It's more like a guitar, isn't it?
Yes.
Why is that, then?
Well, we use these frets for the right positioning of notes and for tuning. A guitar plays chords, really, so it's similar to a guitar.
Mm. And does that mean, seeing you can play that instrument, you can play the whole family of viols?
Not really, because the strings have different names and different positions for the notes.
So they're sort of different instruments in a way, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, you personally, Kathy, you play a whole range of instruments as well, don't you?
I play the piano and the oboe and recorders and some percussion instruments.
And what do you do in your spare time? Not very much.
No.
Well, what would you like to do? I mean, you're doing all this music and your schoolwork and everything else. Would you like to continue in a career in music?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Specialising in what?
Oh, probably in the piano, and like to become some sort of composer.
Okay, thanks very much, Kathy. We're going to talk now to the conductor of the orchestra. Her name is Rosemary Fleet. Now, Rosemary, that viol we just saw Kathy playing there must be an incredibly expensive instrument. How do you manage to afford it?
We had a great stroke of luck, actually, and a parent who makes violins locally, his name's Paul Bryant. He's a super violin maker, and he was interested in our viols, and he made Kathy's viol that you saw just then, and he's made several other viols for us as well.
Yeah, beautiful piece of work, and marvellous sound, too.
Lovely, yes.
How do you, as a teacher and conductor, then go around and arrange a piece of music for a group like this?
Well, I get a skeleton score of it, and then we have a discussion amongst the group who plays what parts. Generally end up with some form of agreement.
So at the end of the day, then, you've got a democratic piece altogether.
Yes.
Does an element of improvisation arise then, Rosemary?
Yes, no two performances ever are alike because they change the rhythm, they change the actual tunes, they add ornaments all the time.
So it's not a million miles from modern jazz then, really, is it?
I think it's very close to modern jazz.
Yeah, do you think jazz has a place in children's school teaching?
Oh, yes. I think all music has a place in teaching music.
It must sound a very simplistic question, but when the band are playing here, you're not in evidence as conductor. What on earth keeps them all together?
The lifeblood. It's called the beat, and it's Nathan and Daniel. It's the most important thing in the group.
So if they keep hammering away, the rest of them will follow.
Yes.
Again, just like jazz, isn't it, really?
Yes, yes.
Rosemary, thanks very much indeed. Well, we're going to listen now to the St. Paul's Primary School Early Music Group. They're playing a piece by a French composer called Gervais, and the title of the piece is Brano. Yes, the St. Paul's Primary School Early Music Group almost bringing to an end our programme today from this windswept St. Leonard's-on-Sea down in Hastings. I'm going to leave you, though, now with the Croydon School Centre for Wind Players and a composition by Percy Granger, and a highly appropriate one with all these little scallywags running around behind me here. It's the Children's March, Over the Hills and... Well, the lady we met earlier on, Dorothy Dickinson, the conductor of our choir, you'll remember here, she in fact studied music with a lady called Rosemary Fleet. Now, Rosemary's moved on to become the arranger and conductor with a much contrasting ensemble of musicians from Hastings down in Sussex. They're called the Junior Early Music Group. And their members come from 8 local junior and primary schools in and around the Hastings area. And they meet regularly with Rosemary to study the treble, the tenor and the bass viols and constantly rehearse their ever-expanding repertoire of early consort music. Well, in their programme at the Royal Albert Hall in London last year, the Hastings Junior Early Music Group, they chose to play a selection of early 16th century dances.